So thank you so much for everyone for tuning in today. My name is Marisol Cortez. I am a real estate loan consultant here at Financial Partners Credit Union. With me today is a lovely real estate agent by the name of Brenda Trigo here with VB Realty Group here in Southern California. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming by and helping our members get questions answered over a hyper competitive market. So over the past few months, we have seen the housing market boom, and it's been extremely competitive. And we want to make sure that we're giving you, our members, the best information we can to make sure you're positioned in the best way possible to purchase your home. So Brenda, with inventory being so tight, how do our members best position themselves to become homeowners?
Well, I just want to say how impressed and how lucky I am to be here today, and how impressed I am to work with Financial Partners Credit Union. So impressed that I've become a member myself. So super happy to be here. The market is and has been competitive, and one of the many things that we do is, before we get our buyers out there, we make sure that we have a complete package, that we sit down and have a consultation with the buyer to understand what their needs are, what their wants are, that you are preferred lender. You've already had those conversations also with the buyer, so they understand what their payment's going to look like. So when we go out there and we find the property that they love, we submit a complete package that we've dotted our I's, crossed our T's, and hopefully it'll rise to the top. And we've been very successful in working with you and having this great partnership and working with the listing agents, and that way we rise to the top. So that complete package and having honest communication with the other side is super important.
Yeah, talk about sweetening the deal, right? So that's a conversation we have with all of our members when we're doing a pre-approval or doing our buyer consultation. On the lending side, we want to make sure we talk to them about why it's so important for them to submit their documentation, for them to provide all their information up front, because we like to sweeten the deal once they start getting their feet wet going into the market and trying to purchase a home. So let's talk about a little bit about sweetening the deal and the different things that we do as a lender agent duo. How do we sweeten the deal for the members?
I mean, obviously people always ask, well, what do the sellers want? It's like, I think it's like what every seller wants, or everybody wants more money, but sometimes there's only so much money you can throw at a property. So one of the other things is we have conversations with the other agents to understand what the needs and wants are of the sellers. And sometimes what's important to them is having a shorter escrow period. So a traditional escrow period is 30 days. Well, sometimes the property is vacant and they've already moved, so they want to get their money yesterday. Mm-hmm. So when we change the escrow date to 17 days, which I know from personal experience, having worked with you at Financial Partners, that you're able to close. I think agents are so impressed, sellers are so impressed that we can actually put that in writing, and we actually can meet those deadlines. So sometimes it requires allowing the seller a few days to move out if they're still moving in the property. So again, it goes back to having that communication, understanding what it is that the other party wants and needs. And I mean, we're all about like having a win-win. So what is it that buyers want, but also what is it that sellers want, and how can we make sure that all parties are happy and we work together?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love when we're putting an offer together and you're like, Marisol, we need this, or the seller is asking for this, or the buyers need this. We're kind of trying to make sure that all parties are happy, and we're mediating any situation up front, usually at the very beginning of the process, which is why the pre-approval timeframe is super important, because we want to make sure that, like you said, we crossed our T's and dotted our I's up front. That way, once a member gets into escrow, it's a smooth process throughout. And that's exactly why we're here at Financial Partners. We were voted #1 mortgage company amongst other credit unions, and it's really important that our members see that we put them in a really good financial position to become a homeowner. Plus, we fully underwrite their file at the very beginning of the process, which typically is unheard of. But with the market being so competitive, we've had to shift and actually get the members' file, which means we've reviewed their income, their assets for their down payment, reviewed their credit score, and we've sat down and talked about everything. So that kind of solidifies how we're going to write a deal in this important market. So tell me a little bit on the seller's perspective. When a seller is getting ready to list their home, what are the things that we're looking for?
Well, it's really funny because the market has been over the last couple of years, as everybody knows, it has been really crazy. But our advice to sellers is never take that for granted, right? Making sure that you're slow to list so you're quick to sell. So first impressions are everything. Just because your property is going to sell fast doesn't mean it's going to sell for top dollar. So part of our job, what we bring to the table is we walk through the property with the seller and give them advice on all the things that we would do and how we would basically start packing. And we remind sellers, you're moving, your property will sell fast. So let's not wait until we have an offer accepted. Let's start packing those boxes, because when buyers come in, they want to envision themselves making this their home. So again, being slow to list and quick to sell, and any little home improvements that you can do that can make the curb appeal a little bit more attractive, or little things that you can do within your property. I always say that every homeowner has $20,000 that they could make in one day just by making a few changes. Making a few changes. So
So last week, it's funny that you mentioned that. Mike Pyle and Carmine had a live, and they were talking about things and ways to spruce up your home. And one, things of that buyers are looking for that sellers should do. So go back to that live that we had last week and see what ideas they had that can help you list your home as well, because we definitely need more homes for sale so our buyers can buy. Let's dive into a little bit about the actual loan piece. So there's different components. So let's talk about the contingency periods. And you said a little bit about how we shorten them. Why is that so important for a seller on an offer?
So for example, in California, if you look at the standard purchase contract, a buyer is given 17 days to do the inspections on their properties, right? To inspect anything and anything regarding that property, whether it be checking permits with the city, whether it be hiring inspectors, whatever it is, 17 days. Well, in order to be competitive and to have the offer rise to the top, we start shortening that. So instead of 17 days, maybe we can get it done in 10 days. And to be honest, buyers are able to get it done faster. We just make sure we hire people faster, but that gives the sellers the peace of mind that if they're going to have to negotiate any repairs, that's going to be taken care of a lot sooner. The other contingency is an appraisal contingency, right? And that usually defaults to 17 days. But, working with you, we've had situations where you were able to order an appraisal immediately, and within like 5 days of the purchase contract being accepted, we had the offer. So instead of having to wait 17 days, again, we let the sellers know that because we work with such an amazing lender, that we're able to get it done faster. And honestly, that all that means for the seller is that they can have the peace of mind that they will know within 10 days whether that property is going to sell or not, and they can move on to the next chapter in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. And then another contingency is the loan approval, right? Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit about the loan being approved. That's a portion of your contract as a buyer. So, which is why when we have our buyers consultation and we talk about getting pre-approved and getting your loan into underwriting at the very beginning of the process, that helps shorten those contingencies and tell the seller, hey, my loan is already approved, but give me 10 days to clear any conditions that we may have or anything like that. So I think that that's important. And, in this competitive market, we want to make sure that you're giving the sellers shorter timeframes. That way they're faster to close on their homes because they're also looking for their next home. So
and we've won a lot of deals when we've called the other agent, let them know we submitted an offer, and then you follow up with your phone call and they have a conversation with you and they're so impressed with you being so on top of it, already dotted your I's and crossed your T's and having, basically the appraisal on standby to order, that we end up winning deals because they just can't get over how efficient the credit union and you specifically are. So for sure, those contingency dates are so important, and who you work with is really, really matters.
Yeah. Your team behind you as a buyer is so important because we try to absorb any of the stress. So if I have to communicate with the listing agent and kind of tell them, our borrower is solid, we're going to do that. We're going to make the call. We're going to be proactive. We're not going to wait for them to call us once they're reviewing the offers with their seller, because you don't want them to do their homework. You kind of want to be on top of it and then say, oh, they're communicating with the real estate agent. They know the offer was placed. Their buyer is telling them that they are ready to become homeowners in this property. They're invested. So that's important when someone loves a home that much. So thank you so much for providing that information. Let's talk a little bit about the funding timeframe when it comes to a loan. I know at the end of the process, we're getting close and everybody's getting excited, but how is that so important for a seller and a buyer when they're trying to, schedule movers?
It's funny, sellers, when we work with sellers and we let them know that we accepted an offer, they always say, well, when do I get my cash? Like, when is that money in my account? Because ultimately that's when it's real to them, right? They can't really make any changes. They're kind of stuck until that happens. So we've been able to close deals in 17 days, which means that in day 18, the seller will have their money wired and deposited into their account. And that is huge when sometimes sellers are purchasing another property, or whether it be, staying in the area or moving out of area, but they can't really start moving on until they have the funding, have the cash in their account. So that's really, really critical. And I'm happy to say that we're able to get it done really fast working with you.
Yeah. Like, communication has always been top notch. And even the minute I get the purchase contract, you guys are amazing at writing up the contract, giving us the dates, letting us know when we need to make sure that we meet all those contingencies. So that's why we order appraisal sometimes on day one of escrow opening. If the member's ready to go, we order it right away, so that way we can move on to the next step. So it's extremely, I think communication is one of the key takeaways. Who you partner with, how they set up your file, what they collect up front, is a pre-approval complete, and they provide you all the information your real estate agent needs to be successful in putting offers out in the market. I think a lot of the times we don't talk about those items that you need. You need a pre-approval letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what we would need to put the package together.
So we definitely need a pre-approval letter. And for a while, we needed a pre-approval letter just to get in to see properties.
Mm-hmm.
So the pre-approval letter lets everybody know that you actually qualify for the purchase of this home. So that's very reassuring to a seller. We usually include proof of funds, right? Which shows your strength. It shows the source of your down payment, but also any other retirement accounts that you may have. Sometimes you're able to provide the DU, which has sometimes their FICO scores and their debt to income ratios. And again, this is meant to be very reassuring to the seller to show how solid the buyer is. And the purchase contract. So making sure that we have all of that up front and together, and we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's when we submit the package. Number one, shows our professionalism, but it shows more than that we're ready and that the buyer's ready. So this is going to be, it's not their first rodeo. So when we sit down and have our consultation with our clients, we show them a contract and we walk through a contract with them, because it can be very overwhelming for a first-time buyer, or any buyer really, to have to docu-sign 25 pages of contracts when they've never looked at it before. So making sure that we're having those conversations and we put a complete package together has been a winning formula for us, for sure.
Yeah, especially our first-time buyers. It's so important that you have a team that's helping educate you through the entire process. There's been a lot of the times where we have clients that are members that have done this process in the past. So it's a little bit different, but for our first-time home buyers, I feel like it's really important that we educate and show you how the process can actually be really simple if you have the right team behind you. Is there anything else that you could think of that you want to throw in?
Yes, I think for buyers, it's so important that you work with a professional, with a real estate agent that does this for a living. I meet a lot of buyers and they'll just say, well, I'm just kind of looking for myself. And it really cracks me up. I think buyers forget that the buyers don't pay our salaries. The sellers have during the listing contract negotiate and offer to pay the salary of the real estate agent. So you get the benefit to hire and fire an agent, but really use the expertise of a great agent without having to pay for it. So I think that's really important.
I love that.
I think the other advice is don't be afraid to write an offer. Sometimes people get cold feet, but an offer is an interest card. You're just raising your hand and you're just telling the seller that you're interested in their property. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the offer. And sometimes in this crazy competitive market, we've had to write more than one offer on a property. So not being gun shy about it. If you're interested, raise your hand, and it's gonna, sometimes it takes a few tries, but that's super, super important.
There's nothing worse than you not writing an offer and it haunts you later on.
Yeah.
I know I've had that situation where I'm like, I'm not going to write. It's okay. I'm not ready. And then later on, I really like that
Yeah,
house.
I
Why
wish
didn't
I
I do
would've.
it? I wish I would have. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that you are putting an offer and putting your hand up and saying, I'm interested, and you have a team behind you that's walking you through the interest and getting you into that door and becoming a homeowner, because there's nothing better than that.
For sure. I know it feels very intimidating for buyers, but you have the support. It takes a village, and you have surround yourself by amazing people that will make sure to navigate you through the process. So, I mean, for us, it's our pleasure to work with our clients, become our friends, become our family through the process, and we keep in touch with them. And it's exciting to help them get into a property, and then they, you know, have children, and now they're having parties at their new place. And it's just really fun. To have that. So I think it's so important to surround yourself by really good people.
Yeah, it's a huge live event. It's a very emotional roller coaster, and it's super exciting. And we just love to be a part of it here at Financial Partners. We're building lifetime financial partnerships with our members every single day. So I think it's super important. We have a few questions on our live, so I'd like to touch on those a little bit. Does it make sense to put 20% down on a home? I get this question all the time. A lot of buyers have a misconception that they have to wait until they save 20% down. And I think it's really important. Every home purchase is unique to itself. There's not two that are identical. So waiting for you to save 20% might put you in a bad position, being priced out of the market. The simple answer is no, you don't have to wait to save 20% down. Here at Financial Partners, we have different programs that will help you get into a home with as little as 3% down. We have 100% financing. So I think my best advice is sit down, talk to us. It doesn't hurt to see your information. A pre-approval is good for 90 days. So it's important to just, let's have that conversation, but no, 20% down is not needed. Definitely. Anything on that?
No, I completely agree with that. I know people that bought when COVID hit with 3% down, and they've already made a few $100,000 with the equity in their home.
Yeah.
So had they waited for that 20%, they still wouldn't be homeowners. So I agree. I think it should be based on what that monthly payment looks like, more than what that down payment looks like, because it could be very overwhelming.
And budgeting, like we talk about budgets, we'll tell you what the maximum pre-approval it is that you qualify for. And then we also ask you what will suit your lifestyle, what payment is ideal for you. Sometimes it's not perfect and we have to give and take a little, but I think it's important we have that conversation up front, that way you know what your payment looks like. Okay, so the second question is it better to wait until the market improves, or should I move forward with buying a home in this market?
Oh, I love that question. I love that question because I think no one can time the market. Like, we all wish we had a crystal ball, right? And we could see the future, but we can't. And I think you should purchase a property when you are ready to purchase a property. So when you can sit down, look at your numbers, and you know that you qualify for it, it's something that you're comfortable paying, you should purchase property at that point. Don't try to time it. I think I've known people that have been waiting 4 or 5 years to buy because they've been waiting for the market to drop, and the market has increased, like double. So I think we will never pretend to know the market. Like, to me, I'm in this every day, and even then it's always changing and evolving. So it's making sure that it's when it's comfortable for you, and not try to time the market.
Yeah, that's why having a buyer consultation, I can't stress this enough, is you'll know if you can afford the monthly payment, if it makes sense for you and your family and your lifestyle. And then from there, make the decision if you want to start, going out there and making offers on a property. Aside from buying a home, this person also said, should I work on my credit and improve my profile in the meantime? So we do credit reviews here at Financial Partners, and I think that that's something that we offer that's amazing that most institutions don't. I think you can sit down and talk to anybody that works here, and we'll talk to you about your profile and your credit. We'll actually pull your credit and see where you need to be. A lot of the times when I've had a credit review, or I sit down on a buyer's consultation with people looking to purchase, they think they're not ready, and they're fully ready to purchase. So just talking to the right people, I think, will help you. But yes, your credit is important. Let's take a look at it, and from there you can decide if it's time for you to purchase.
For sure.
So the third question is, what if I put in an offer and then I change my mind? That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, an offer is an interest card. So let's just say hypothetically, we submitted an offer and you get your offer accepted. And now you decide, just kidding, I'm not ready for this for whatever reason. You have the right, as long as you stay within your contingency dates, to cancel. And even after you send in your deposit, if you decide to cancel and you stay within your contractual contingency dates, then you will get your money back. And we've had that happen. Sometimes people decide to cancel because of inspections, they're overwhelmed by the amount of work the property may need, or honestly, some people just get cold feet for whatever the reason is. Yes, you do have the right to do that. The agent that you're hooked up with, that we're there navigating you through the process. We'll let you know when that final day is once you sign off. And at that point, if you've already signed off and then you decide to cancel, you're going to close escrow in a few days. Then at that point, your deposit might be in jeopardy. But again, we've never had anybody lose money. We always have those honest and upfront conversations. But that's a great question. Yes, you're not stuck forever. It's not over.
Yeah, and that's why your team of people are so important, because through the offer process, they're going to walk you through, letting you know, these are your contingency periods. We're here to protect you as a buyer. But just know we're raising our hand and we're saying you're interested in this property. So it's important. Again, we can't stress enough. Well, that's it for questions. Brenda, thank you so much for coming by and helping us educate our members on the home buying process and this crazy market that we just never know where it's going, what it's doing, but we're here to navigate that together. So thank you all to our members for joining. Remember, we'll be featuring live discussions every Wednesday in June for National Homeownership Month. Next week, HGTV's Mike Pyle and Carmine Sabatella will be joining, and we'll be back to answer any home improvement questions on June 29th. We'll be discussing all various home loan options we offer and what is best for your personal situation. Financial Partners offers a full range of mortgage loans to help you get into your dream home. To learn about various ways you can finance a home and which best suits you, please tune in. The entire month of June is Home Ownership Month, and make sure that you register to get all of your home improvement tips and news at fpcu.org/home improvement month. And then you can also enter to win a $500 home improvement gift card by going to that link. Every other house that I walk by is doing some sort of home improvement. So a $500 home improvement gift card will come in handy right now. So thank you so much, everybody. Again, Marisol Cortez and Brenda Trigo here, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.